And welcome to another episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Ed Smith. Got lots to talk about here. The Jim Harbaugh extension offer not being rescinded. More Connor Stalions developing news, and we got the Michigan Purdue game, the college football playoff rankings, the Lions, the Red Wings, and the Pistons. But also the D&J trade, DPJ trade, by the way. So, the Michigan Wolverines football head coach Jim Harbaugh refuted reports that the university rescinded their contract extension offer to him. So, as of last week, the offer to him from the university is still on the table yet. So, it it's not so it wasn't rescinded amid the sign stealing scandal. So,
No, basically, what had happened first, originally, this was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. That, of course, due to the ongoing investigation and everything that was surrounding the scandal, that Michigan had purportedly rescinded the contract extension offer. They were, if you can remember, like, in the literal days before this whole story even first dropped on our radar, we were talking about the fact that it appeared to be, excuse me, that Harbaugh was in the works of finishing details to close the deal on this extension. Then the reports came out about the sign stealing scandal, and then Stallions, and then everything just snowballed from there. But it's worth noting, though, that again, according to multiple people, not just Jim Harbaugh himself, you have people like John U. Bacon, for example, Josh Henschke, multiple people within the Michigan circle that are noting that there were errors in terms of the reporting or in terms of the context or what actual words were used, and also noting that Harbaugh is still on his current contract, which is, I believe, what was a 5-year extension that he signed after either the 21 or 22, I believe it was after the 21 season, after he flirted with the Vikings, I believe. And again, going back to John U. Bacon, he at last reported that President Ono and the AD, Ward Manuel, they are still in the stages of putting together a contract to finalize an extension for Harbaugh. And with the intent of this is that it would make him the highest paid coach in the Big Ten. So that still tends to be the goal. It's just a matter of when do they get announced the deal? Do they do it while the investigation is still going on, or do they do it or do they wait until the investigation is complete? To me, that seems to be the big holdup at the moment. Yes, they are cautioning, or rather, I should say,
that
monitoring
might
the
be why.
situation. Yeah, they're also monitoring the situation to see how things develop and go from there. But if it looks less and less likely that Michigan will be facing any type of punishment or type of sanctions or whatever the case may be from the NCAA, which I think it's more and more likely that's what we're going to see, and in that case, then yeah, they'll be feeling more comfortable of when to announce the extension for Harbaugh.
All right. So, that's on Harbaugh's spectrum. Speaking of Stallions, Central Michigan Chippewas football head coach Jim McElwain, yes, is my university, but this is too serious, told the media that Michigan scouting specialist Connor Stalions was not on a distributed pass after there was a photo shown of him, Stallions,
Or appeared show, it looks like, because it's still not officially confirmed.
him on the sideline. Now
Hmm.
it's not confirmed yet, but there was a photo,
Oh yeah,
potentially, of Stallions on the sideline at the CMU MSU game.
yeah. I will say the photo itself and the detail and the background surrounding it is at the very least suspicious. The fact that this is a dude who is, remember, this game was at night and he's just standing there trying to look inconspicuous by wearing sunglasses outdoors at a stadium at night. Say what you want about the facial hair or the hat. That's probably why he's trying to disguise himself as best as possible. So that is Stallions. I think that if anything, it could say or show more about him and his state and his mental state in some capacity, as opposed to more about Michigan, because I've yet to see this being shown as type of proof or evidence that yeah, Michigan ordered him or contracted him or paid him to do this. Because the more and more that comes out, it seems that more and more that he was trying to do some of this on his own volition, whether it be with obviously the multiple people buying tickets. Hey, you go to this sideline, you go to this sideline. It seems to be more and more about, hey, this is what Stallions wanted to do, more compared to what the university is accused of doing.
Yeah, and this is
But
still
again,
developed.
but still, it's still developing. But the fact that this was on the heels of the recent investigation or whatever you want to call it, between the whole thing with the Burger Gate thing that got the 3 game suspension for Harbaugh to begin with. The fact that this now you have this investigation on the heels of that, I would not be surprised if Michigan does get handed down at the very least some form of fine or probation. The matter is, we just got to figure out how much it's going to be and when is it going to and when is the hammer coming in that regards. More than likely, I would say wait till after the season. They'll probably announce it. I highly doubt it will be sanctions. I'll be surprised, but more than likely, probably probations and a fine. I highly doubt Michigan will care if they just keep their head down and stay focused and take care of business. But that's just how I feel this situation is gonna wind up. No, I don't think wins are gonna be vacated. No, I don't think Jim Harbaugh is gonna be fired or let go from
No,
Michigan.
absolutely not.
No. So for those that are trying to fantasize that or
Only
wanting to see that
Stallions
happen,
should face punishment time. Only Stallions.
yeah, of course,
I think
because
he should. I think Stallions alone should be fired.
oh yeah, he's already been on the suspension list, I believe, or whatever the case may be. But I please don't worry. If anything, once we see more developed, he'll be the fall guy, as some will say, but he'll be the main focus of attention of scrutiny for punishment, as opposed to what people would wish it would be, and that be Jim Harbaugh. But no, it's going to be Stallions. It's going to be Stallions that gets the brunt of the punishment.
All right. Yep, it is just Stallions, one way or the other. Whatever happens to him, he deserves. So,
Yeah.
the Michigan Wolverines are favored by 32.5. They kick off at home against the Purdue Boilermakers Saturday at 7:30 on NBC. I'm going to miss that game, but probably DVR it, because I'll be in Kalkaska calling play-by-play for a semi-pro hockey game in the home opener for the Battlers against the Waterford Sharks. But all seriousness, just the Wolverines are going to dominate the Boilermakers. Could they cover? Who knows?
Yeah, well, in terms of will they cover, I think they have a high chance of doing that because they've been able to cover the spread consistently as of late for the past few games. They did, of course, their last game against Michigan State. What the spread is 32.5. I believe the fact that this is a Purdue team that is not as good as the team that went to the Big Ten championship game last year. By the way, and another note, this is a rematch of that said Big Ten title game. Um, to me, this is a Boilermaker offense that just cannot get itself on the track, so to speak. Because Purdue, they have scored 20 or more points only 2 times. They've scored exactly 20 points once, and they've only scored more than 20 points one time this whole entire season, and that came in a blowout win against, of all teams, Illinois. That's the only time that they scored over 20 points this whole doggone year by putting up 44 against a hapless Illinois team. So that tells you about the state of Purdue, about the state of the Big Ten West, and frankly, why Michigan should win this one quite comfortably. This is their first game back after the bye week. They're going to be rested. They're going to be rejuvenated. I would expect to see JJ continue to uh, be in control. If you want to say he's going to be adding resume or trying to add moments or numbers to his Heisman case, sure, so be it. But it's just a matter of getting him in proper shape and proper, get him tuning at the right time. Because what your biggest games are now upcoming. You're approaching the home stretch of your schedule, and we'll talk about it in a second. But these are the biggest games now of your season coming up. You're going to want your quarterback to be on point as best as he possibly can. So knowing that, yeah, I think we're going to see more of the same. I think we may even see more of Donovan Edwards this time around as compared to Blake Coleman. Because you remember how the kind of game that Donovan had against Purdue in the Big Ten title game, and that was when he was dealing with his own sort of injuries. So knowing all that, I think Michigan will take care of business. They'll be again, more motivated. They're going to be playing more pissed off as an effect of this whole sign stealing scandal surrounding them. So knowing that is going to put an extra chip on their shoulder, get them more motivated, as if they needed enough motivation. They're going to handle. They're going to win this one quite comfortably. So if I were to make a score, I would say what Michigan 45, Purdue 3.
Yep. I'm going to go Michigan 49, Purdue nothing.
Back to back.
Purdue is 2-6. Purdue is 2-6.
Yes,
Just like Michigan State is.
I was going to say yes. So is MSU, but I doubt. I think I have more confidence in Purdue scoring a touchdown than MSU at this point, especially with their
either a touchdown or a field goal. You predicted Purdue to score 3 points.
Yeah, again, which still is more than Michigan State did, because it goes without saying.
Probably in garbage time.
It goes without saying their play calling is atrocious. I'm talking about Michigan State. But for Purdue, for Purdue though, yeah, they'll be the sacrificial lamb for this week. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get a field goal early on, but just expect the usual domination that we've seen from Michigan.
Yeah, one way or the other. So that leads us to the college football playoff rankings, which looks kind of bizarre. Ohio State is number 1, and they have 700 odds to win the title. The Georgia Bulldogs are the defending national champions at number 2. The Michigan Wolverines, the defending Big Ten champions, at 3. The Florida State Seminoles at 4. Washington Huskies at 5. Oregon Ducks at 6. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's no problem, and I think I may be in the minority, but I take no offense with this list at all. I got no problems with the teams that were ranked. I got no problem with the teams that were chosen. You see it as the first 2 that are out, Washington and Oregon. I got no problem with that, especially when you consider the fact that Washington beat Oregon head-to-head in that classic a couple weeks back. Florida State, they've been phenomenal this year. They deserve to be in that top 4. And then it really comes down to would you rank the top 3? Would you rank it Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State? Would you put Michigan at 1? And eventually the committee, what they decided was these were the 3 best teams in their opinion: Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan. They gave respect to the fact that Georgia and Michigan, and in Georgia's case, because they are the defending back-to-back national champions, and they are undefeated as well. So I got no problem with Georgia being ranked ahead of Michigan. Now, if you're wondering why in the world is Ohio State ranked ahead of both Georgia and Michigan, it's simple. It comes down to this: strength of schedule, who you play, and who's your biggest wins. For Michigan,
they beat Notre Dame.
I'll get to that. But for Michigan, their biggest wins were what? Rutgers, Indiana. For Georgia, what's their biggest win? Maybe Kentucky, maybe Auburn. Whereas Ohio State, you have road win at Notre Dame in South Bend, and you just came off, what was it, the win in Columbus against Penn State? Another high-ranked, high matchup, high-pressure matchup, and your team handled business. So between the strength of schedule that Ohio State has had so far, because it was noted on ESPN, I think their strength of schedule was number 15, whereas Michigan and Georgia's strength of schedule was ranked 100 or worse. So knowing that in consideration, taking that, knowing that, and knowing that the resume was Ohio State's biggest wins were, boom, Penn State, Notre Dame, that's no surprise to me that Ohio State's ranked number 1. But there's still time to change it, because Ohio State and Michigan, they had their collision course at the end of the season. Georgia, we'll see how they fare in terms of getting through the rest of the SEC schedule. Florida State, you will hope they don't screw up themselves. And if
Michigan's got Penn State coming up after Purdue.
Yes, and I'll get to that. Yeah, I'll get to that momentarily in terms of Michigan's case. But if you're Washington and Oregon, as long as neither of them try to not stumble or slip on a banana peel themselves, they'll have a high shot at getting to that top 4, because between Michigan and Ohio State facing each other, one of those spots will be open, if not potentially 2, because it's not a guarantee that Florida State will get through undefeated. And frankly, I don't think it's a guarantee that Georgia's going to get through the season undefeated. That's just my belief. That's just my opinion. But if you're Michigan, it comes down to handle your business, take care of what you got to take care of, beat Ohio State. Most importantly, win Penn State first, because I still believe that's still your most difficult game remaining, more so than Ohio State. And if you beat Ohio State again, not only are you're gonna be, by the way, you're gonna be in the playoff because there's no way in hell you're losing the Big Ten title game. I don't care who you're facing. The Big Ten West, trust me, they are going out with a bang this year by giving you some absolute horrid shit on the field. So knowing who you're going to face out of the West in Indianapolis for the Big Ten title game, you're done automatically. You're in the playoff. So if you're Michigan, if you beat Ohio State, not only do you win the Big Ten, not only you're going to get into the playoff again, there's a chance you may actually be put at the number 1 seed, even more so than Georgia. But again, that's still yet to remain to be seen. But I have no problems at all with this opening ranking. Remember, it's just the first week of the rankings. We still got more football to play. And like I said, these teams, i.e. Michigan and Ohio State, they're going to play each other. They'll sort all that shit out, and the cream will rise to the top. Simple.
Yep. Michigan will have to earn that Penn State win at Happy Valley like in a week and a half. Yeah, that's great. Perfect analysis on those rankings, Ed.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why you're here with me. The Lions, they get back to their winning ways somehow by beating the Las Vegas Raiders 26-14 on Monday Night Football. They settled mostly for field goals in the first half. I thought in totality they should have won 66-27. That had Devontae Williams and other receivers.
Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams, a former Packer. Thank you very much. And other wide receivers for the Las Vegas Raiders should have caught those passes wide open.
I'll be honest. I'll get to that in just a second, and I will agree with you in some instance. It felt like the Lions should have won this 140. They should have put at least 40 on the Raiders because they got inside. Almost called them Oakland. They got inside of Las Vegas territory.
I'm talking about by each drive that should have been touchdowns.
I'm getting to that.
Except for the 52-yard field goal, which they could not score a touchdown. I would take the 52-yard field goal. Joe Buck said it was a knuckleball. I thought it might have been tipped, but who knows? It went over the bar anyway.
It got through, and frankly, if you're Riley Patterson, it's a needed confidence booster because he's been inaccurate. He had been 2 of 5 on kicks. What was it, 50 yards or more going into that one?
Missed a 26-yard chip shot after that, but man,
right, but. That's okay. I'd rather if you can prove to me you can hit the longer ones on a consistent basis, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But in terms of the Lions offense, listen now. In terms of the Lions offense in general, they had gotten the ball inside of the Raiders 30 about 5, if not 6 times. They got into the red zone 5 times at least. Only got that 1 touchdown. Thank you, Jameer, and I'll get to him in a second. So it shows that despite their offense being completely sloppy, being very much in terms of inconsistent in some instances, because you saw Goff with a horrible interception, you saw Josh Reynolds with a fumble, Craig Reynolds had a questionable fumble as well. Despite all that, their defense said, no problem, we got this, and they sacked Jimmy Garoppolo 6 times. They got an interception out of them, and if you remember,
Joseph in his own end zone.
Exactly. That came immediately after the fumble by Reynolds early on because
Josh Reynolds. There are 2 Reynolds.
Yeah, by Josh Reynolds. Thank you. Appreciate it. And then so Garoppolo, and a good awareness by either Aaron Glenn, by Dre Bly, and or by the players because they had a feeling that the Raiders were going to go for the kill shot. And if you're going to go for the kill shot immediately after a turnover, you go for your biggest threat. That's Devontae Adams. So great job by both Jerry Jacobs and Joseph by playing the zone and playing the coverage just perfectly to where, despite no matter how Garoppolo threw it, it was going to go to one of those players' hands, and it fell right into Kirby's hand. So I believe that was his first interception since the Green Bay game, since he picked off Aaron Rodgers last year.
That's all I
can
know. For him. That's all I know. Yeah, too.
That's good on him. And by the way, I mentioned Jerry Jacobs' name. How did you notice how much of a difference his presence was this week compared to missing him in Baltimore? I think that played a part as well. You got to give Jerry Jacobs credit on that. And knowing, going back to the defensive line, you got to know that there will be times when the offense, the other team, they will completely focus or game plan on trying to neutralize or double team or triple team Aiden Hutchinson. So what does that mean? You need other guys on the D line that can step up for you, like Aleem McNeil did, like
That's
guys
one.
like Alex Anzalone did,
Two.
like Julie, like Aquara did,
Julian
you
McClure,
know.
yeah. Two Aquars on the team,
So
too.
exactly
But
right,
yeah,
right, and
the
right,
whole
Julian and his
defensive line
brother.
stepping up.
Right, that's what you want to see because there are going to be
Teamwork.
some times, exactly, because there will be times and instances where, right, your best player will either be neutralized or there will be game plan around. So that's on you to find someone else to step up and contribute. Because, right, if Aiden's going to get double teamed and triple teamed unchipped all damn night, that means you, Isaiah Buggs, or you, Aleem McNeil, or you, Benito Jones, you're going to get one on ones. So win those one on ones, and they've been winning, and they did a great job of winning those one on ones. They got to Garoppolo, they really had him shook, and frankly, those throws, my goodness, I think I could have thrown a better pass
Pass
to
rush. Yeah.
Devontae Adams
Oh, yeah.
both times. And speaking of Devontae Adams, I feel for that man because remember the reason you got to remember the reason that he originally
He may
came
want
to the
out of
Raiders.
Vegas.
We'll see because he came there originally to want to play with his former college roommate and his best friend and Derek Carr. Remember, he left Aaron Rodgers for this, and the fact that they gave Carr the extension, and then they told him to fuck off anyway, and then you brought in Jimmy G. He's been ass. Josh
Yeah.
McDaniels, who frankly has been such a sabotage. He's been sabotaging this team. I'm surprised it took this long for Mark Davis to realize, yeah, you're gone too. They fired him and the GM. And if I'm Devontae Adams, oh my
Mark
goodness,
Davis clean house, I
I'm not
heard.
even
Oh,
feeling
my
so miserable right
God.
now.
Wow.
It's a mess. It's a mess. And guess what? If you're the Lions, you know what that mess feels like. But guess what? You
He
also
was
know when to
aware of
take
it, and he
advantage
was
of that.
pissed off.
Oh yeah, you saw it on the sideline. He's slamming his helmet on the bench. Looked very upset. The look on his face, it spoke volumes. The fact that he had to choose his words carefully in the post game press conference said it all. I wouldn't be surprised if he had said something, if he had spoken with Mark Davis directly. Who knows? But something had to be done, and we saw with the moves that were done as a result. But good on the Lions. If the fact that it took a dominating loss to the Lions like this says it all. And while we go back in the offensive end, while we're glowing about the defense, there was at least one good constant on offense besides the usual Amon-Ra St. Brown 100-yard performance. Oh, hi Jameer Gibbs. I've been waiting to see you again. So he gets 31 touches. He gets 189 all-purpose yards. He gets you that 27-yard touchdown run, and he got you on almost 6 yards per carry. Frankly, knowing that he was going to be the featured back anyway with no David Montgomery and knowing that the defense was going to game plan around that, the fact that Jameer still did that and the fact that you're doing this without Jonah Jackson, without Frank Ragnow, you had to put the friggin' rookie Sorsdahl in there for his first career start, and they did their job. Penei Sewell allowed only one pressure against Max Crosby, just one. I
Just
know
like he
that
allowed only one sack in 2019 in Oregon.
right. Trust me, Sewell is showing you why he is a captain. He is showing you why he is one of the best tackles in this damn league. He's showing you why that he should be an All-Pro. And frankly, in terms of the offense, I can't. Like I said, the fact that they still scored over 20 points, knowing that they were inconsistent, knowing that they were sloppy, knowing that they had turnovers, that says it all. Speaks to how well Ben Johnson has play calling. Even though again he had his own issues, a couple play calls I thought were too cute, but that's okay. The Raiders were still trash. We took advantage and we still won.
Yep. Offense may get you points, but the story of the game was the defense. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The offense does have issues to clean up, including that pick six from Jared Goff. But it
Yeah,
was
but
just
guess what? We may have
miscommunication
issues.
between him and Amon-Ra St. Brown. But really, the
Yeah, bad.
defense stepped up, as
Yeah,
always.
rare
Usually.
miscommunication between Goff and Amon Ra. And I'll again, people will talk about, JMO, you had another drop. Oh, JMO, you got blew up in the backfield. You're getting the fact that he did have a 20-yard catch over the middle,
Yeah.
and also forgetting the fact that on that jet sweep, oh, that's cute, that's nice. The one time that you finally decide, yeah, we're gonna run a jet sweep for JMO, You do it when he's running directly into the path of Max effing Crosby, unblocked Max Crosby. So they could
Yeah,
have.
why are you not blocking Max? Why were they not blocking Max Crosby? That's one missed blocking assignment after another. While
I'll
Ben
do you one
Johnson,
better. I'll do you one better. Just don't run in that direction. Run it the opposite way. Run it away from Crosby.
exactly,
I, I,
exactly. That's on Ben Johnson and the play calling on that one,
yeah, call a zone. Call a kill, or
or at
see if
least
you can
partially on
do it.
it.
See if you can do an audible to get Panay out in zone block the opposite way, and then you do the jet sweep that way. Fine, but you don't do that with a guy like Crosby within the vicinity. So I have nothing. Again, I like how JMO looked out there. I'm going to continue to like what I see out there until something changes differently. And we'll get to more. I'll get to more JMO discussion in a second when we discuss the trade deadline. But very, very, very impressed by the Lions taking care of business. They needed that bounce back after that horrible performance against Baltimore, and this was a great way to go into the bye week.
Yes, and with that win, they improved to 6-2, still in first place in the NFC North. Of course, the Vikings 4-4, the Packers 2-5, the Bears 2-6.
Not just 6-2, not just first place in the North, but also second place in the NFC. And
Exactly
I know
behind the
you mentioned,
Eagles.
yep, and I know you mentioned the Vikings at 4-4, but let's be honest, they're done. Kirk
Kirk
Cousins
Cousins is
blew his.
done.
He tore he tore his Achilles. God bless him. Best recovery, best wishes. I hope he recovers as fast as possible, as healthy as possible. But let's be honest, Cousins is done for the year, and he may have just taken his last snap as a Minnesota Viking. Because remember, he's a free agent in the offseason. So that could have been the very last play we've seen from Kirk Cousins as a quarterback for Minnesota. The
Yeah.
Packers, they're going through their growing pains with Jordan Love. We're going to see that all year. And the Bears, they're the Bears. So frankly, if you're the Lions, you should have this division wrapped up by Thanksgiving at the earliest. At the earliest.
Yeah. I think the Lions have this division wrapped up analytically, not just in the standings. Don't let that fool you, but analytically down the road.
Mm-hmm. Because remember, they still have more of their interdivisional games coming up. They've only played the one, and that was at Lambeau against Green Bay. They still got the Bears coming up and the Vikings. And we'll see like I said, we'll see the
Of
Packers again
course,
on
yeah.
Thanksgiving.
They'll beat them
I
all.
think
Yeah. Yeah, they'll beat them all by well, at least somehow, right?
yeah, I'll say this: if you do sweep your division, if you do win all of those divisional games, if you do go 6-0, that's putting, to use a WWE term, that's putting money in the bank. You're padding on, you're stacking head-to-head wins on your division lead. That's going to increase that lead even more to the point where, right, it doesn't matter what the rest of the division does. It doesn't matter what Minnesota tries to do at the late end of the year. You got enough wins padded up to where the division, it's locked.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta turn that gotta sweep broom from the Baldy's Basics in Education and Learning game from green to blue to Honolulu blue and silver. What did you think? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of which, the Lions acquired former Michigan Wolverines football wide receiver and previous Cleveland Brown wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones
Oh
from
yes.
the Browns for a 2025 sixth round draft pick, according to Eric Woodyard of ESPN. Donovan Peoples-Jones going into this trade had 8 receptions for 97 yards, but really the Lions can shape him up. But his analysis from Pride of Detroit, they spoke with a Browns beat writer, and he told them, quote, Peoples-Jones is a deep threat with a long stride. He does a great job of tracking the ball over his head and hauling it in while getting hit. As a high-waisted player, DPJ struggles with change of direction and fighting for the ball while coming back to it. For this year, quarterback play has been terrible with a lack of touch on deep balls very evident. For all of his exciting size, speed combination, DPJ is an outside receiver who is probably going to catch most of his balls on go routes or deep ends near the middle of the field. Detroit might unlock his punt return skills with a few screens as well, unquote. Yeah, so we remember DPJ returning punts and kicks for the Wolverines. He could do the same with the Lions as well, in addition to playing his role as wide receiver.
Yes, and primarily
So
as
what's your grade?
you mentioned, my grade for this actually it's a B, probably B minus at the minimum, but no higher than that, but no higher than a B. To me, this is a move that was done for depth purposes, and also in that wide receiver room, you got to remember a few things. Amon-Ra St. Brown, as awesome as he is, it's not a guarantee that he will remain healthy for the rest of this season. Got to take that into consideration. Your second best receiver is the rookie tight end. That's great and all, but you want to see more of that. You want to see a more experienced
Laporta.
player. Yeah, exactly. In Laporta, you want to see more experienced players in surrounding roles such as that. JMO, the jury's still out on him. So knowing that, and also knowing that, oh, by the way, Marvin Jones just left us. This was a move that, frankly, you needed to make at the very least for depth purposes. And like I said, he's a deep threat. And I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care what radio hosts or fans on Twitter have to say. This is not a shot. This is not a slight at Jameson Williams at all. I just mentioned the fact that, hey, you needed to replace Marvin Harrison anyway. You don't know what the health is going to be for Amon-Ra St. Brown for the rest of the year. And frankly, this was something to where, in terms of depth purposes, game plan purposes, and also knowing what you can do to spread, hey, maybe you can, instead of having DPJ return kicks, how about you have JMO return some kicks? Just a suggestion. But, again, people try to
Got to provide
overreact.
help for him too with the blocking.
Yeah, but now I think it's fair to say, hey, could you have tried to do something on defense? Because if there's anybody that needs help, it would be Aiden Hutchinson. Because Aiden, teams are going to try to game plan around him the rest of the way. They're going to use that same blueprint that we saw the Raiders use the other night. So when it helped to try and get someone, maybe like a Chase Young, maybe like a Montez Sweat on that defensive line, sure, I would have liked it myself. But I'm not going to be throwing temper tantrums and breaking chairs and screaming and frothing at the mouth like a child because
Mike
I
Valenti
didn't get
did.
what I. Please, Valenti fans on Twitter that was like, oh, what are you doing? You're fumbling this. This is the Tigers trade deadline all over again. Shut up. You're 6-2. You're in first place of the division. You're in second place at the NFC. You're at the bye week. You have, by the way, injured players that are coming back on the mend. You have David Montgomery coming back. You have Jonah Jackson and Ragnow that's coming back. You're gonna have James Houston coming back on that D line. You already see what Aleem McNeil has been doing for you on that D line as well. Add in a returning James Houston, and also, by the way, CJ Gardner-Johnson, CD Deuce, if you want to call him that now, he's probably coming back before the end of the year too. So if I'm Brad Holmes, so more than likely, if I'm Brad Holmes, I'm viewing that, as cliche as it may, I'm viewing that as my trade deadline acquisitions. And you know what? This is a move that I want to get done that can help my offense out. So be it. I got no problem with it. And by the way, for Donovan Peoples-Jones, it's not just a homecoming for the former Wolverine. Trust me. I'm well aware of what he did in Michigan, the skill, the traits that you mentioned in that breakdown. Because remember, I saw that Michigan State game. I saw how he caught that high pass from Shea Patterson, and took it to the house and hit the Paul Bunyan pose on him. So I know what a reliable, credible threat DPJ can be when he's on one. So I got no problem with the move. I have no problems with how the team is doing right now. They're apparently doing it right because look at where they are right now.
Yep.
Come on now.
Yeah, I would say NFC North champions already.
You're going to be division champions. You're going to have a home playoff game. And oh, by the way, there's still a chance you get the friggin' number 1 seed in the NFC. So pipe down, touch some grass, and shut up.
Yeah, still got to go through the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending NFC champions that almost won the Super Bowl again.
Hey, I'll say this. Anybody can have a bad day in the playoffs when it's one and done. So it's not a guarantee that the Eagles
Right.
or even the Niners. Yeah, if we got to play at least one of those teams in the playoffs, sure. But it's not a guarantee that you have to play either, because one of them could screw up or slip up in the wild card or divisional round anyway. I'm just
Exactly.
saying,
The Eagles lost
when
to the
when
Jets, by
golden
the way.
yes, so when golden opportunities present themselves to you, pounce on it. And I think they're doing it, but they're doing it smartly because they also recognize, why would I want to give up capital to take a risk on a player that A may mess up my culture in my locker room, and B, maybe a player that I may not feel like want to pay to bring back next year anyways. So let me continue to do what I've been doing if I'm Brad Holmes. Let me build through the draft. Because you see what I've done this year with my draft class. You see what I've done this year. You see what I did with my draft classes in years past. So let me do that, because guess what? We're getting ready to own this division. The Packers, they're on rebuild territory. The Bears suck. The Vikings, they're the wild card, but guess what? They're going to have to replace. They might going to have to replace their quarterback next year. So this division is ours for the
Well,
taking.
the Vikings
Let's
are either
fuck
wild card or football hell, as 5 Points Vids and Urinating Tree would say on the
exactly.
dumpster
So
fire.
exactly. So this division is literally
With
for
Cousins
yours to
gone, the
seize.
Vikings are done, are pretty much done too.
Yeah, exactly. So knowing that you have that potential to rule this division for years to come, do not blow your load and trying to go all in on year one. No, no,
Exactly.
no,
Take
no, no, no,
time.
no, 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 no. Why do you think the Packers have become known as the king of the North for a decade? Because what
Uh,
they maintained control. They were king. They were right. The favorites. They usually, if
oh
not
yeah,
often, won the division.
the
And
old
what? And
Packers.
and also in some of those years, they were contenders for the Super Bowl. That's the status that the Lions are
Hmm.
trying to get to, that they want to get to eventually. But guess what? They're building it. They're being patient with it, slowly,
Yep.
steadily. They're doing it their way, the way they want to do it, not how you want to do it.
Right.
So deal with it.
It's the way it's supposed to be done nowadays. So that's Lions. The Red Wings, they snap a 3-game losing streak. Still, it's still a losing streak. They call it a winless streak just because like
Because of the
shootouts and
points in
overtime
overtime.
games are still. I know, but there are no
Yeah, but a loss
ties.
is a loss. Exactly. There
Yeah,
ain't no ties anymore. A loss is a loss. So you can
yeah,
say it. And
yeah.
frankly, in that 3-game losing streak, your offense was the offense was stalling. 2 of those games, they scored. They managed to get only one effing goal. No, unacceptable. So it was really good to see, after they were down 0-2 against the Islanders, they came back in the third period. They tied it up, and then Raymond
Got a really good feed
got
from JT Comfort, who got a goal and assist, by the way. Raymond
yep
got the
Comper.
game winner.
I believe that was his 400th career points by Comper when he got that assist. So
That's
good
what
for
we're
him.
hearing.
Good on Raymond too, by the way, continuing to prove why he deserves to play on that first line with Larkin and DeBrincat. And frankly, that's what you need to see, because with other team, because now what, you have 6 wins in your first 10 games. That's pretty good to see. And also knowing with other teams coming up on the schedule, like the Bruins, like the Rangers, you want to make sure you're as strong a front as possible, strong unit as possible, to take on those type of caliber teams to try and get some more wins.
Yep, because they third period they cleaned it up. They cleaned up
Hmm.
their act offensively. Losing 4-1 to Winnipeg, especially, is unacceptable.
Yeah.
When the Winnipeg Jets had a losing record as well, just like the Seattle Kraken had a losing record.
Mm.
The Wings
Huso
lost
was much better too. Huso was much better too in this one. He had 37
a little
saves, I
better,
believe.
a little better. Yeah,
I,
yep.
I I'll call 37 saves much better
37.
than
Yeah,
than what he was usually giving
yeah,
up the past
yeah.
in his last start.
The defense needs to help him out, help him out more. To be honest,
I can
yeah.
agree with that.
I'll take a loss to the Bruins, but really, that yeah,
I
but then
think you
again,
should
the
win.
defense didn't help out Reimer either.
I think you should be able to win 2 of your next 3 games. That's my belief. Between the
Well,
Panthers and the Rangers, those are winnable games. Bruins probably
oh,
not.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my belief.
Yeah, the Panthers are the defending Eastern Conference champions. The Rangers, they have been red hot. Yeah,
Mm.
I would not count. I would not count. Well, I would not count on them to be winnable games. The Red Wings have to earn them, but I think
Well,
they can.
hello. Have you seen how we've been playing as well, man? Come on now.
It's a
Don't sell
battle.
ourselves short. Yeah,
No, no, no,
exactly.
no,
But
no.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm just looking on the opposing end of the spectrum, the Panthers and the Rangers. But yeah, the Red Wings have been red hot, 6-3-1.
exactly.
So
I
I
understand,
expect
but
them.
you gotta have that confidence. You gotta have that
I
confidence
expect
in
those
yourself
games
too.
to be tight. I expect those
Oh yeah,
games to be tight.
that's fair enough.
They're not
Right.
losable, but they're not winnable. They're like in the middle.
Hey, if it's a tight
It's
game, I would
it.
consider that toss up. And to me, in my world, toss ups are winnable
I'll
because
take
that's a
any one of
50-50
them.
ball.
Yep,
That's a
I'll take
50-50
all of them.
ball.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep. Home against the Boston Bruins Saturday. The Red Wings are. I would say the fans look say they're looking for revenge. And I hear them too. But really, the Boston Bruins they were favorites the
Win the cup.
to win the cup when they got ousted in the first round, 7 games by those Panthers. By the way, and urinating Trey made a meme out of them with a video. Understandably, speaking of urinating Trey, the Pistons, man, they went on a 2-game winning streak, beating the
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte Hornets at Spectrum Center 111-99 last Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and then in their home opener they rolled over the Chicago Bulls 118-102, and then things started to go downhill when apparently Jalen Duren, I think, sprained his ankle in that 124-112 loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder down south, and then they come back up home. They led by as many as like almost 15, even without Jalen Duren. They were having a solid first half, but yet yes, their defense was not there in any portion of the game, but their offense, what it's a situation where you have to count on them as well. Their offense, like I said, had a great first half, but they they did not have a good second half either. That was when Portland came back. They're
Let me
under
guess. Turnovers
head
again,
coach
wasn't it?
turnovers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yep.
that's another fact.
That's been a
That's another thing
constant.
that factored in.
That's been a,
And new head
that's
coach Chauncey Billups and his team came back to win 110-101.
that's been a constant for the Pistons this whole entire season so far. I love their energy and excitement and how they charge down the floor sometimes, but they are too reckless and careless with the ball. And what that
Exactly.
means, too many turnovers. Turnovers that's gonna put you in bad transition. Is gonna lead to easy points, easy buckets for the other squad. That'll either get them back in the game or put you further down in the hole. So it's simple fundamentals. Take care of the basketball, good things will happen for you.
Yep, exactly. And
Like
they'll
if
have to
they
start.
had, if like I said, if they had at least 10 less turnovers that they did on opening night against Miami, they would have won that game easily, going away handedly. So
Yeah,
because we've seen with this defense when they're at their best, like especially in those first 3 games, we've seen what this defense can do. We know what the stars, in my view at least, the stars on this team can do. Guys like when you have, you're a Asar Thompson. Asar Thompson, who's been an absolute rebound hound. He's been averaging double doubles. He's been averaging a double double so far, and he's just a rookie. He's got multiple games where he's got 10 or more rebounds, and he's also showing you tremendous rim protector abilities. He's got already 10 block shots to his name. This kid is like what, 18? He's only just
Asar
started.
Thompson
Yes, 18 or 19. He's only just started
pickpockets
and
too.
he's already looking like a star. He's already looking like a star. And frankly, it'll take a dog fight to knock him out of the starting lineup the way he keeps playing, even when Bogdanovich returns. And as for Jalen Duren, we just mentioned him, but he's another double double machine in his right. He's a guy that has absolutely been fed on the pick and roll, whether it been with Cade, whether it been with Killian Hayes, whomever. Duran has just been phenomenal with his screens and rolling to the rim and getting the alley oops. But also more than that, he's been getting his fair share of blocks as well. And like I said, he's only 19 himself. There's still so much potential and growth for this young man. It's not even fair. It's not even funny. And then, of course, we got to turn our attention to our franchise player, Cade Cunningham. He's
30
playing with a chip
points.
on it. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's playing like he's got something to prove. He's showing the aggression on offense. He's shown much improved production, not just his mid-range game, but it's just his shooting in general, because he's already shooting 40% from three. And in my view, like you said, with his 30 points tonight, he had a windmill dunk to go along with it with his highlight reel. He is going to be on the short list, in my view, for most improved player / comeback player of the year. That's just my prediction, because he's going to be playing with something to prove. He's going to probably be a borderline all-star if he keeps it up, and he is the star focal point and the central figure that makes the Pistons go. So wherever he goes, the team goes. So I'm very much excited to see what Cade's going to give me for the rest of the season, provided he stays healthy, of course. But I have confidence in that.
Yeah, he scored 30 tonight. Should have had 32. He missed a layup in the crucial dying minutes of that fourth quarter when the Pistons tried to come back and take the lead. But even then, the Blazers were just pulling away. Even
Oh yeah,
even 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 if Cade Cunningham could have hit that layup anyway. But but that's Chauncey Billups and company. But the Pistons, like we mentioned before, the recklessness, the carelessness with the ball, too many turnovers. They're going to have to start working on exercising that demon from here on
mm-hmm.
forward, from Friday on forward, when they travel down to Smoothie King Arena to play the New Orleans Pelicans Friday at 8. Then home against the Phoenix Suns Sunday at 3, and then home against the Golden State Warriors, the former champion, multi-champion Golden State Warriors, on Monday at 7. And then Wednesday at 8 at the Milwaukee Bucks, the Greek Freak Giannis Antetokounmpo, Drew Holiday, and all those other guys.
And Damian Lillard. Don't forget about Dame time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Damian Lillard, he
No,
plays for the Bucks now too, huh?
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Sadly, his days in Portland are over. Well, sadly for the Blazers, by the way, but they didn't even need him tonight, I guess. So yeah, college basketball starts later next week, but we're not gonna. It's too soon to preview that. Anyway, the Big Ten season's not until, like, I don't know, December or January. But that leads us to our what we've learned segment. Ed, what all did we learn as to what we talked about tonight?
We learned that the Lions are steady, they're back on point, and they want to try and stay the course as long as possible for the rest of the season and doing it their own way. We've also learned that the same can apply for Michigan, especially as they try to keep their head above water with the latest developments with the Connor Stalions situation, as well as trying to get Jim Harbaugh hammered down on an extension. So the fact that we're hearing reports or hearing or gearing leaning towards the expectation that Harbaugh is going to get an extension tells you all you need to know about Michigan and this whole nonsense with sign stealing. We also learned that the college football rankings I have no problems with. To me, it's fine. It's only the first ones. It's still plenty of time left to play for the season. Teams are going to play each other head to head. Someone's going to lose, so things will get more cleared. The dust will settle better, much better, as we get closer to the end of the month. And frankly, for the Red Wings, much needed win, bounce back after a bad losing streak. Let's see if we can keep the momentum going. And Pistons, to me, the sky is the limit for this team. Believe it or not, they just need to handle their fundamentals better, take better control of the basketball, and that's that.
Yep, exactly. Spot on. Attention to detail. So, that's another episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. I'm Taylor Phillips. He is Ed Smith. Follow the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on X and Instagram at Michigan_Truth and like its Facebook page. Subscribe to its YouTube channel at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Like our videos and turn on all notifications on the bell icon. Special thanks to Making Connections with Allie for sharing our post on Facebook, our episode on Facebook Live. Follow it and listen to it in audio form on Spreaker. Follow me, Taylor Phillips, on X, TikTok, and Instagram at DT2Phillips, and on YouTube at DT2Phillips. Also on Twitch, DT2Phillips1984. Follow Ed Smith on X, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube at EdSmith313. Shoutouts go to Athletico Physical Therapy on Woodward and Ferndale, the B4 Foundation. Cali Tickets, call Mark Goldman at 877-225-8425 or visit CaliTickets.com. Creative Embroidery of Cadillac for designing the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast logo on my long sleeve shirt and t-shirt. Cuts by Melanie in Lake City on McGee Road. Let's roll with it. Roll ice cream, where the spooky pistachio ice cream is the flavor of the week. Follow the Food Mafia on TikTok at the Food Mafia LLC. Northern Star Event Rentals in Cadillac, 231-884-8195. Schedule a booking for next year. Also like their Facebook page, and United Food Service Solutions of Grand Ledge, Michigan. We'll be back next week. Until then, for Ed, this is Taylor. And remember, we observe and detect the truth about Michigan sports. Stay on the lookout and stay aware, everyone.
Take care and be safe, people.
Thanks.